All right, let's get right to it. Today, we're ringside for what is basically the heavyweight title fight of the AI world. In one corner, you've got Google DeepMind's challenger, known for its just lightning-fast combos, Gemini 3.1 Pro. And in the other corner, we have the reigning champ of deep, strategic thinking. From Anthropic, it's Claude Opus 4.6. Look, these are both absolute titans, but they have completely different fighting styles. So let's get ready for the main event.
Okay, so let's dive into this. The thing you gotta understand is that at the heart of this matchup is a totally different philosophy. Think of Gemini as the speed champion. It's an all-arounder built for super quick, versatile answers. On the other side, you've got Claude, the reasoning expert, a deep thinking specialist that's all about careful, meticulous work. It really is the classic speed versus substance debate, and which one you prefer has huge implications for how you'll use them.
So how do these different philosophies actually translate into how they're built? Well, it's time for the tale of the tape. We're going to look right under the hood to really understand their unique fighting styles and, what makes these champions tick.
First up, let's look at Gemini's engine. It uses something called a 3-level thinking system. Now, the best way to think about this is like a manual transmission in a car. You, the user, get to decide how much gas to give it for any given task. You can shift gears for speed or for power. This whole design is about maximizing efficiency, and it's built to just seamlessly handle all sorts of file types: text, audio, video, and plug right into that bigger Google ecosystem. Now, let's switch over to Claude because it paints a very different picture. If Gemini is a manual car, Claude is this super sophisticated automatic. It uses an adaptive thinking engine. So instead of you telling it how hard to work, it automatically figures out how complex a task is and then dedicates exactly the right amount of brain power. This is what makes it such a powerhouse for complex reasoning and a real favorite in fields like finance and legal, where getting it right the first time is, non-negotiable. Okay, so we've seen their styles, but how do they actually score on the judges' cards? It's time for the benchmark battle. Let's turn to the hard data and see how these models perform when they're up against standardized academic and technical exams. On paper, Gemini lands some heavy blows. Now, what's really interesting here is the abstract logic test. This thing basically measures how an AI solves brand new problems it's never seen before. Gemini scores a really impressive 77.1%, pulling way ahead of Claude's 68.8%. It also scores a win on a tough test for PhD-level science. So in the controlled environment of a lab, Gemini is the clear winner on points. But, and this is a big but, here's where the story gets a lot more complicated, because the fight isn't just about the numbers. Industry experts have this saying that I think just perfectly captures the split decision. Gemini wins metrics, Claude wins mentality. So while Gemini is acing all the tests, a lot of users feel that Claude is just smarter and more intuitive in day-to-day practice. It's a great reminder that raw scores don't always tell the whole story. And that brings us to maybe the most important part of the fight. How do they perform in the real world? The training is over, it's time to get out of the lab and step into the ring to see how these AIs actually handle practical, everyday tasks. Gemini's biggest advantage is its footwork. It's a true multimodal AI. As you can see right here, it natively understands not just text and images, but also audio and video. You can literally throw it a 30-minute podcast file and ask for a blog post, or have it summarize a business meeting from a video. Claude can handle images, sure, but it simply can't hear or watch, and that's a huge difference in today's world. But when it comes to strategy and really complex planning, Claude is in a league of its own. It's like having an elite trainer in your corner. You ask it to map out a business launch, and it gives you this deeply considered multi-step roadmap. It analyzes, it strategizes, it details everything from budget to marketing. It just shows its incredible strength in that kind of architectural thinking. And this just perfectly shows the contrast. Ask Gemini the exact same question, and you're way more likely to get a quick, efficient checklist. It's like a flurry of useful jabs. It's fast, great for brainstorming, but it just doesn't have that comprehensive knockout power of Claude's detailed blueprint. It's really the difference between a quick sketch and a full-on master plan. Of course, for any professional, performance is only half the story, right? We now have to enter the price fight, where the cost of keeping these heavyweights in your corner can be the ultimate deciding factor. And the difference is, honestly, it's staggering. We're not just talking about a few bucks here. For anyone who uses these a lot, choosing Gemini 3.1 Pro can lead to cost savings of roughly 50% compared to Claude. That is not just a gap. For a lot of people, that's a total game changer. Let's just look at the raw numbers. Whether they're using it for standard tasks or you're feeding it massive documents, Claude is consistently the more expensive fighter to have on your team.
For every million tokens you process, you're paying nearly double for Claude's expert reasoning. For a team working on a project, that can add up to hundreds of dollars in savings every single month. All right, the rounds are flying by, so let's go to the instant replay. Time for a super quick rapid-fire summary. First up, Gemini's biggest advantage. It is incredibly fast and truly multimodal. It's a jack of all trades that can handle video and audio with absolute ease. Now for Claude's corner. What's its claim to fame? Unmatched deep reasoning and just pinpoint accuracy. It's really the gold standard for when the stakes are high and you absolutely positively have to get it right.
So what's the main knock against Gemini? Well, that incredible speed can sometimes lead to answers that just feel a little too brief, like a quick jab when you really needed a detailed combination. And Claude's biggest drawbacks, its weak spots? Well, it's expensive if you use it a lot, and it is completely blind and deaf to any video or audio files you try to send its way. So, the final bell has rung. After all those rounds, who is the undisputed champion? We're going to go now to the judge's decision. And the truth is, the right choice depends entirely on who you are and what kind of fight you need to win.
Let's break it down by profession. If you're a software developer who needs fast code and quick fixes, Gemini's speed and low cost make it your champion, no question. But if you're a legal or financial analyst where flawless accuracy is absolutely critical, you need Claude's expert reasoning in your corner. And for creative writers, honestly, Claude's expressive, almost human-like tone is simply in a class of its own. And this leads us to our final thought here. In this whole heavyweight battle, maybe the smartest strategy isn't to pick one winner at all. I mean, why choose one champion when you can build a whole championship team? The ultimate workflow might just be using Gemini for speed and all that heavy multimodal lifting, and then passing the work to Claude for that final expert refinement. The future isn't about finding one perfect tool. It's about knowing how to combine the best.